Alright, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Black Box Podcast. BBOR, Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. Now, there has been some talk in the news of a certain individual, maybe you've heard his name, Michael Avenatti, running for president. And, there were some things also going around that maybe Stormy Daniels herself was going to run for president, maybe Omarosa was going to run for president. Those things are probably more just like novelties. What we've sort of learned about Michael Avenatti, some people call him the attorney for Stormy Daniels and other cases. He's also the attorney for Stuttering John from Howard Stern and Leno, mind you. He has a very long list of clients. But this guy... Oh yeah, I was about to say his other nickname, Creepy Porn Lawyer. Got a little sidetracked. I'm glad I remembered that some people call him the Creepy Porn Lawyer. But this guy is, launching a real campaign for the presidency. It was getting a lot more attention in the kind of early August to early September when people were really looking at the possibility of having Michael Avenatti run for the presidency. And it really received some support, from a handful of people up and down the aisles. Even Steve Bannon appeared on Bill Maher and was just like, Avenatti could be the guy. He could be the Democrats' Trump. He could be the one who is going to take down Trump. And some people have actually theorized this, why an individual like Michael Avenatti would run for president. Well, because of the fact that, he started out as the attorney for Stormy Daniels, which is most people what they first knew him as, like definitely the first thing that I recognized him for. He thinks that he is the person who is going to just spearhead Donald Trump. He might actually genuinely believe that he is the one individual who can take down Donald Trump in the 2020 election. I would say that he is somewhat articulate. He is somewhat of a skilled debater. He is a lawyer, mind you, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But it's like, he is someone who is probably not going to win the nomination, but a lot of people are just, they want to see him run for president. They think that he could be the sort of, person who no one would have ever thought had a chance in the world actually take down Donald Trump in 2020. And when I said that, this isn't a novelty, he's visited Iowa already, and he's toured with John Delaney and Andrew Yang in Iowa, actually trying to see if this is a possibility. He has released a political platform. But on the notion of lawyers becoming president, on the one hand, it seems like they're trying to get away from this, but on the other hand, it seems like they are giving an exception to Michael Avenatti. Neil deGrasse Tyson gave a very famous kind of spiel on the internet, which he has, reiterated multiple times across many different platforms, when he's like, lawyers are the ones who are controlling our political system, and they just sort of learn how to debate either side of the issue, and they would, learn that from debate club. It's the same as a debate club when you learn the issue 15 minutes before you debate it, and then they just play the sides of it. Well, Michael Avenatti is a career high-profile lawyer. However, the sort of difference about him is he is not a career politician. And we've had some presidents who came out of that stuff, like Warren G. Harding was a newspaper owner. Herbert Hoover was a mining engineer. And, of course, Lyndon Johnson was a teacher for a long time. So it's like, we can have people from a variety of backgrounds. Oh, did I forget one individual? Oh, yeah, we also have this guy named Donald Trump in the White House who was, businessman, but also a reality TV star. And that's sort of what Steve Bannon was going on about. They're just like, they need sort of someone who can capture the reality star presence. They need someone who can capture the show business, someone who is fearless in front of the cameras. And Michael Avenatti is somebody who could do the interviews and the debates, and he can articulate, yes. But where does he stand on the issues? One of the largest things that people are taking exception with on the far, far, far left, is that Michael Avenatti does not support the abolishment of ICE. And when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was having her rise to fame a whole 2.5 months ago, or whenever that was one of the things that they really kind of tried to nail her for on Fox News. It's just like, that was like a bold statement, I suppose, 2.5 months ago, that she is a politician who supports the abolishment of ICE. And whether you are for or against that, I'm not going to say a word about that. It's just, that is something that the Democrats are kind of looking forward, and they think that Michael Avenatti is going soft on the immigration and customs enforcement. Let's face it, that's a multifaceted issue. If you have anything to say about that one, I would love to hear a comment about that in the comment section below. Do you support the abolishment of ICE? I won't say a word for or against, but do you support the abolishment of ICE? And maybe if you're a Democrat, would you vote for a candidate? Like, how important is that to you in the candidate that you're voting for? On to some other things. Does Avenatti have a realistic chance of winning? Well, it's just like, he definitely is good with the sort of show business tactics, which is what a lot of the people, strategists would be kind of zoning in for. However, he doesn't have this enormous sense of likability. And the Democrats, when it comes to their presidential nominee, they are somewhat fractured. They are somewhat divided because now they have, the Justice Democrats / Democratic Socialists, and they also have the more center Democrats that are going to be leaning towards somebody like Joe Biden. So it's just like they don't really have, this sort of, kind of beacon that they're just looking to right now. And that was a challenge that somebody brought up as well, just through discussing things. They were like, the Democrats do not have a single leader. And if before you say somebody like Bernie Sanders, before you say somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders is only the leader of a very select wing of the Democratic Party, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez cannot be the leader. There's absolutely no reason to have her as the leader of the Democrats or the face of the Democrats, because not only can she not run for president, she couldn't be president if she wanted to. She's 28 years old. She could not even be a senator if she wanted to. So it's just like the time just isn't there yet, It's like maybe in 8 years she will run for the presidency if her momentum continues, but 8 years is a long time. This could be just sort of like a flame that goes out. We don't know yet. We don't really know about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but it's too early to sort of proclaim her as any sort of leader of the Democratic Party or the face of the Democrats. Anything associated with that is just like, it's too premature. She's not suitable for that right now because, she can't take the nation head on. She can't be the leader. It's just, she doesn't have the requirements yet. But would you want to have somebody like Michael Avenatti? Well, he's definitely going to challenge Trump. And if he were to debate Trump, I'm not going to lie, that would be rather entertaining. Yeah, Fox News is going to have a cow, but it's just like, it would be entertaining. It would be some fireworks, because they would both be just throwing some punches. And that would be good for television. And somebody who's going to just be watching this on TV, it's just going to be like, get your popcorn. This is going to be, like, it could either be a shit show or it could just be, some of like the most entertaining back and forth that you would just sort of have. You would just have kind of like two loudmouths who are just going to be sparring it out. One thing I haven't mentioned, though, about Michael Avenatti is, I don't know about you guys, but I think the Democrats are really leaning toward the possibility of electing a woman. I think that, it's kind of just sort of overdue for the Democrats to not only elect a woman for the nomination like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was the first nominee of a major female the first female nominee of a major political party. I jumbled that one so badly. Sorry. But when it comes to this notion of having the first female president, I think the Democrats are sort of long overdue on the subject, and they're really going to try to put up a woman to challenge Donald Trump. Let's face it, Avenatti has very little diversity points. His only diversity thing that he could ever capitalize on is that he is a political outsider. I mean, it's like Italian Americans might love him, which, more power to them. Why not? Why not? I mean, that's definitely something. It's definitely in a voter demographic all the same. It's just like, I think the Democrats are really going to try and push for a woman. And, they have Kamala Harris and they have maybe Elizabeth Warren. And, it's like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not crazy about either one of them. It's just like, I've described Kamala Harris as lackluster before on this channel. And Elizabeth Warren is almost just like, I don't see like the ferocity that is going to come from her. And I also said in the past that she might be someone who is going to be catapulted to the top because she's a very well-known name. She's easy to recognize. And, some people have pointed out, though, it's like Bernie Sanders seems to have a larger following than her. And if that's what you want, well, then you should go with Bernie because he has a larger following. And it's just like this is going to be a numbers game. It's about who can not only have ideas that you agree with, but also electability. Someone that is actually going to win, because it's that whole thing like that movie Swing Vote. What is this about? Winning. It's just like, because then you can't accomplish what you set out to do. So it's like, is Avenatti someone that can take down Trump? It's possible if he were actually to go that far, because he is somebody who is maybe somewhat self-serving. Let's not lie. Let's not pretend that he doesn't have, this kind of love for the camera. It really seems like he just adores being on TV. But it's like, he's not fictitiously creating this campaign. This isn't just sort of a hoax. I mean, if he's actually visiting Iowa and touring around, and then he'll probably be in New Hampshire at some point, it's like, if he's actually going to be going to that sort of length, this is something that he's actually going to be working on. And he might actually try and rally support, and he might have the poll numbers, because he has a very recognizable name. Like, there was the possibility of, some people like John Hickenlooper running for president. I don't think anybody's going to bat an eyelash at John Hickenlooper, to be honest. It's like, he just doesn't have the sort of, he's not a household name yet. I mean, like, I think that's sort of an independent thing that's going to happen, where it also might be John Kasich and John Hickenlooper on one ticket, two Johns, one ticket, or something like that. I just kind of forgot about that one, to be honest. But here we're talking about Avenatti. Now, when Avenatti runs for president, if he runs for president continuously until the Democratic primary, one thing that would hurt him is, he deals with a lot of high-profile candidates. He's treated as sort of a self-serving bastard, not going to be anything but frank. He might have a lot of scandalous things that are going to come out, where, it's like maybe he tried to exploit someone, or maybe he tried to fabricate certain details in front of the camera. Maybe he misrepresented situations, for the sake of showmanship, for the sake of, looking good on television. Those are the things that could come out to hurt him. And it's not just being called a creepy porn lawyer on Fox News. No one's going to give a flying flip about that if he actually gets to the level when he could be viewed as a presidential candidate. I mean it. If he actually is the Democratic nominee, the Democrats are going to vote for him. They're not going to care what nickname he had on Fox News. So the thing that could come back to haunt him is, if he becomes a legitimate contender for the presidency, he is going to face a level of scrutiny that he has never faced before, ever. They are going to dig into his past like you cannot believe. You know that, and I know that. And, it's just like, do you think that Michael Avenatti has a few skeletons in his closet? I'm thinking he probably has a few graveyards in his closet, based on the whole fact that, it's like he's a high-profile lawyer. That's his job. It's his job to guard other people's skeletons so they don't come out. And, of course, to represent his clients. But what do you think at all? This is just kind of like, we're just having a good time talking about this whole thing. In all reality, I don't think Michael Avenatti will be the Democratic nominee, but it is very likely that he could launch a legitimate presidential campaign. And it's like, some people think that he is the sort of antidote to Donald Trump, on the Democratic side, mind you. It's like, they just sort of think that he has the showmanship and the sort of fearlessness in front of the camera, and he's also been someone who has spearheaded Donald Trump from the beginning. But what do you think? What do you think about Michael Avenatti at all? If you have anything to say at all about everything that I've put forward, please drop a comment below, and talk to you soon.